Imagine finding a small silver dime from 1942 in your pocket, in a coin jar, or tucked away in an old family collection. Something so tiny you could almost overlook it. But what if I told you that this dime, a Mercury dime from 1942, could actually be worth thousands of dollars? Yes, a 10-cent coin from World War II can shock collectors with values that go from just a few dollars all the way into the tens of thousands. That's the kind of big money hidden inside this little piece of silver, and today we're going to break down why this coin is so special, what makes it valuable, and how you can tell if you're holding a fortune in your hands. The Mercury dime, also called the Winged Liberty Head dime, was minted from 1916 through 1945. Designed by Adolph A. Weinman, it's considered one of the most beautiful coins America has ever made. On the front, you see Lady Liberty with wings on her cap, a symbol of freedom of thought. On the back, a fasces with an olive branch represents unity, strength, and peace. Every single 1942 Mercury dime was struck in solid 90% silver, which means even the most worn-out one has value far beyond its original 10-cent face value. But melt value is just the starting point, because the real money comes when you look closer. In 1942, these dimes were produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Tens of millions rolled out, but here's the thing: when you mint that many coins, mistakes are bound to happen. And those mistakes, those errors, are what transform an ordinary dime into a jackpot for collectors. That's where the legendary 1942 over 41 Mercury dime comes in, one of the most famous and most expensive errors in all of coin collecting. So what exactly happened? Well, during production, a working die that was prepared for 1941 got repunched with a 1942 date, creating a dramatic overdate error. On these coins, you can actually see the faint traces of 41 beneath the 42. It's like the coin is showing 2 different years at once. These errors slipped through and ended up in circulation, and now they're some of the most sought-after coins in U.S. history. Here's the big money part. If you have one of these 42 over 41 Mercury dimes, even in a lower circulated grade, it could be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. But in high mint state condition, these coins can bring staggering prices. At auction, some pristine examples have sold for over $90,000. That's right, a dime that once bought a loaf of bread could now buy a brand new luxury car. But the overdate isn't the only valuable version. Regular 1942 dimes can still be worth impressive amounts if they're in excellent condition. Collectors look for uncirculated examples with strong details and shimmering luster. And if your dime has what's called full split bands on the fasces, the tiny horizontal lines that are fully visible and not worn down, you've just hit another level of rarity. Coins with those crisp full split bands can sell for $100, $200, or even more, depending on grade. Think about it. A small silver dime, tossed aside by millions of people in the 1940s as everyday change, could now be the reason you walk away with big money. Every single detail matters. A sharp strike, a preserved surface, or that magical overdate error could turn your coin into a collector's dream. Let's put this into perspective. Suppose you found a 1942 dime in a drawer. At the very least, it's worth about $2 to $3 in silver value. If it's a nice, uncirculated coin, maybe $50 to $100. But if it has those full split bands, now you're talking hundreds. And if it's one of those legendary 42 over 41 varieties, that coin could put you in the thousands, even life-changing money if it's in top grade. This is why collectors and treasure hunters go wild over Mercury dimes, especially the 1942 issue. So how do you check yours? Start with the date. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and look very carefully at the numbers. Pay special attention to the 2 in 1942. If you notice what looks like doubling or traces of another number underneath, you might just have the overdate. Next, examine the reverse. Are the fasces bands strong and sharp? That's a huge plus. And of course, condition matters. No scratches, no heavy wear, and plenty of original shine equals big money potential. Stories keep popping up about people who discovered 1942 Mercury dimes in old coin collections and ended up cashing out for thousands. Imagine holding a small piece of silver, no bigger than your fingernail, that has the power to change your wallet forever. It's like striking gold in plain sight. But there's another reason this coin carries so much weight. It's tied to history. 1942 was right in the middle of World War II. Millions of American soldiers were overseas, factories were in full production, and silver was still being used in coins. When you hold a 1942 Mercury Dime, you're holding a piece of that era. You're holding something that bought groceries during wartime rationing, something that jingled in the pockets of Americans during one of the most intense periods of our nation's history. That connection alone adds to the demand and makes collectors chase after them even more fiercely. At the end of the day, the 1942 Mercury Dime is living proof that big treasures can come in small packages. Some are worth a few dollars, others hundreds, and the rarest ones tens of thousands. The difference is in the details, and knowing what to look for could mean the difference between tossing aside pocket change and holding on to a jackpot.